My dear students, welcome to my channel. Today I am going to give you idea of the lesson The Gift in Wartime, a poem which you have to study under compulsory English of grade 11 according to new course. Let's get started.
Learn English with Lasmar.
Understanding the text. Answer the following questions. Who is the speaker addressing and why can that person not hear or understand what she is saying? उसले स्पिकरले कसलाई एड्रेस गर्दैछ र उले किन सुन्न सक्दैन? The speaker is addressing her husband. He cannot hear or understand what she is saying because he is dead. What can you infer about the speaker's feeling for the person addressed as you? यो स्पिकरले जुन यु भनेर एड्रेस गरिरहेको छ नि उसको फिलिङको बारेमा के कुरा बुझिन्छ त? Her feelings for that person she addresses as you is full of love, affection and devotion. She has gifted him all the pleasures of life. She is saddened by his demise. Although he is no more in the world, she is still hopeful to meet him in their next life. What is the speaker's attitude towards war? स्पिकर को वार को बारेमा एटिट्युड अर्थात दृष्टिकोण कस्तो छ? The speaker's attitude towards war is critical and reflective, acknowledging its destruction while recognizing the resilience and deeper understanding that can arise from such experience. In what ways do you think this person's fate has affected the speaker? त्यो मान्छेको नियतिले गर्दा उनको जिन्दगीमा कस्तो असर परेको छ? This person's fate was to die in war because he was a soldier. The speaker's happiness and youth ended with his death. Thus, the ill fate of the person has made her helpless, loveless, and miserable. What does the speaker promise at the end of the poem? Why do you think the speaker does this? यो स्पिकरले लास्टमा के कुराको प्रोमिस गरेकी छन् र यस्तो किन गरेको होला? At the end of the poem, the speaker promises to meet her lovable person in their next life. She wants to take shrapnel as a proof to show him the reason behind his death and their separation. I think the speaker does this because of her love for the absent person is so deep and she wants to be in love with him again and again. Reference to the context. What is the theme of the poem? The theme of the poem is the cruelty and inhumanity of the war and its negative impact over humans. The poem talks about the tragedy caused by war. One life ends but many others are affected. After the untimely death of the soldier, his family and dear ones will suffer. Life is priceless, so there is no compensation for this great loss. What imagery from the poem made the greatest impression on you? Why? The poet has used several powerful images in this poem. Among them, I liked the images of shrapnel the most. It clearly illustrates what gift war can give to humanity. Shrapnel not only signifies the physical harm to the soldier but also represents the shattering of the lives of their loved ones. This is the deadly gift of the war. Which figurative language is used in the poem? Explain with example. Figurative language is phrasing that goes beyond the literal meaning of words to convey a deeper message. In this poem, we find the use of irony, apostrophe, anaphora, and metaphor. Irony occurs when the person speaks of a gift that is not a real gift but rather represents grief and loss. Examples include a grave and shrapnel, which serve as token of remembrance. The poet uses imagery when roses are offered to her husband's grave, and her husband is described as a corpse with lips with no smile and eyes with no sight. The red roses traditionally symbolize love. The next figure of speech is anaphora, which is the repetition of the same words at the beginning of a line. In the first, third, and fifth stanzas, the poem repeats, I offer you, and coming to the sixth stanza, where the speaker repeats, you give me, three times in a row. These are the examples of anaphora used in this poem. The poem also utilizes the apostrophe literary technique that is addressed directly to a non present person or an inanimate object. Like in the poem, the speaker confronts the dead corpse of her spouse. What does the speaker offer in this poem? What does the person addressed as you give in return? The speaker offers various things like roses, her wedding gown, her youth, clouds, cold winters, etc. to give her to her lovable person. The person addressed as you gives her the medals with shining stars, badge with yellow pips, the smell of blood from war dress, lips without a smile, arms without tenderness, eyes without sight, and body without motion. An apostrophe is a literary device in which a writer or speaker addresses an absent person or an abstract idea in such a way as if it were present and can understand. Discuss the poem in relation to apostrophe. An apostrophe is a literary device in which a writer or speaker addresses an absent person or an abstract idea in such a way as if it were present and can understand. Here in the poem, we can see the use of an apostrophe when the speaker addresses the dead body as if he can understand her. She offers him red roses and her wedding gown at his grave. Her youth has ended with his death. His badge, bravery medals, and the blood from his dress make her sad. Her eyes are full like summer clouds, and her life has changed from spring to winter. She wants to prove her deep love and respect for her husband by showing her sacrifice. Thus, this poem has shown the bitterness of war on behalf of the speaker using the apostrophe. Reference beyond the text. One way to get relief from grief is to write or talk about it. In your opinion, how might the speaker in this poem have benefited from saying what she did? Explain. One way to get relief from grief is to write or talk about it. Grief is caused by loss. In emotional situation, a person can get relief by talking with dear one. We can share our pain to others by writing poem, stories, etc. or sharing our experiences with others. The speaker in this poem has also chosen the same path. She has become able to reduce her pain and suffering by talking with her dead husband. Happiness and pain are an inevitable part of human life. In our life, we must experience both sides of life. We must find a way to cope with the grief and move on with our life. The speaker is talking to her husband who was killed in war. She offers him red roses and her wedding gown at his grave. Her youth has ended with his death. His badge, bravery medals, and the blood from his dress make her sad. Her eyes are full like summer clouds. Her life is changed from spring to winter. She wants to prove her deep love and respect for her husband by showing her sacrifice. In this way, the speaker becomes able to cope with her deep pain by talking with her dead husband. Write an essay on the effect of war. Effect of war. The effects of war are widely spread and can be long term or short term. Soldiers experience war differently than civilians, although either suffer in times of war and women and children suffer unspeakable atrocities in particular. In the past decades, up to 2 million of those killed in armed conflicts were children. The widespread trauma caused by these atrocities and suffering of the civilian population is another legacy of these conflicts. The following creates extensive emotional and psychological stress. Present day internal wars generally take a larger toll on civilians than state wars. This is due to the increasing trend where combatants have made targeting civilians a strategic objective. A state conflict is an armed conflict that occurs with the use of armed force between two parties, of which one is the government of a state. The three problems posed by intra-state conflict are the willingness of the UN members, particularly the strongest member, to intervene, the structural ability of the UN to respond, and whether the traditional principle of peacekeeping should be applied to intra-state conflict. Effects of war also include mass destruction of cities and have long lasting effects on a country's economy. Armed conflict has important indirect negative consequences on infrastructure, public health provision, and social order. These indirect consequences are often overlooked and unappreciated.
Thanks for watching the video. Please subscribe my channel so that you will be notified when I upload next video.